and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be talking about some romances that have a fairy tale retelling theme to them. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. Also, welcome back to Trope Week. If you don't know what Trope Week is, it is a series I do here on my channel where every single day for an entire week, I pick one specific romance book trope and give you a bunch of recommendations. So we'll have the playlist listed down below, but today we're going to be talking all about romance retellings. I've done a video where I talked specifically about Beauty and the Beast retellings, which I'll leave down below, but I thought I would do this one that's like an all-encompassing, just fairy tale retelling style. Quite a few to talk about and different types of retellings. Like I have a Pride and Prejudice one, a Phantom of the Opera one, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, different types of retellings. So let's just hop right in. Okay, so the first one is a series by Gina L. Maxwell. You can read these on Kindle Unlimited, and I feel like these are so underrated. First book is a Peter Pan retelling. The second one is Hook. They did recently get like a name change and a cover change. They used to just be called Pan and Hook, but now they look like this, and I do like the new covers. The first book in the series is called Lost and Found, and this is the Peter Pan retelling, and it is a second chance romance between Peter Pan and Wendy. These are contemporary retellings. In this book, it follows Peter, who grew up in an orphanage in a not so great part of town, ends up meeting Wendy, and they have an instant connection. But Wendy's family comes from a lot of money, and they kind of expect her to marry well, go off to college, and kind of make her way out of the town. When it's time to go to college, she does end up leaving, and then years later, she comes back to her town. She is an event planner, and she's holding an auction where she is selling this restored car, and that is how her and Peter end up reconnecting, because he owns his own mechanic shop that really specializes in restoring classic cars. I really liked this one. I loved all the side characters. I loved the Peter Pan element. It was a lot of fun. And then the second one is called Lost in Darkness, and this is Hook's story. This one is a little bit darker. It does have trigger warnings. Our hero Hook grew up in the same orphanage that Peter did. However, Hook was assaulted by the man who owned the orphanage. Sorry if you can hear noise downstairs. My nephew is like screaming and like playing, so I apologize for that. When Hook is older, he ends up creating like a motorcycle gang group, and he ends up getting propositioned by John Darling, who is Wendy's younger brother. So this does have a little bit of an age gap. Obviously, this is a male-male romance. Hero John is an FBI agent, and he goes to Hook for help and wants him to like work with him because they're trying to take down this underground like drug and sex trafficking ring that is run by the same man that assaulted Hook when he was younger. They're working together, but they also have intense chemistry. This does have like a BDSM element to it because Hook is a dom in this book. Oh my god. Like, the connection of our two characters is so beautiful. A lot of this book is Hook like healing from his past drama and realizing that he is not the villain like everyone has made him out to be, and it is so freaking beautiful and emotional. So underrated. Like, I feel like I never hear anyone talk about this book, and it is so freaking good. Okay, so I feel like historical romances do a really good job when it comes to retellings. So the next couple that I have are all historical. First one is Cinderella and the Duke by Lydia Drake, and this is obviously a Cinderella retelling. This book starts off with our hero actually being the one caught in a compromising position. So he is an absolute rake, okay? He's a little bit of a player, and he is well known for his like skill in bed. These women are propositioning him, and he is constantly getting caught up in duels. Married women propositioning him, and their husbands like challenge him to a duel for their honor. He has like these unmarried women propositioning him, which causes their fathers and their brothers to challenge him to a duel for their honor. He is tired of it, but he doesn't really want to get married. That is where our heroine comes in. Our heroine Julia has not had a proper season because she has a wicked stepmother. Okay, this is a Cinderella retelling, who has not really allowed her to go out into society to find herself a husband. The heroine is trying to get out of her stepmother's clutches, and our hero is trying to make it seem like he is engaged. Ends up striking a deal that they're going to have an arranged marriage with one another that's like mutually beneficial, and it follows their romance. Listen to the audiobook of this one, and I did really like the narrator, so I would recommend the audiobook if you want to check this one out. Then the next couple are Beauty and the Beast retellings. There are so many Beauty and the Beast retellings. First one is Briarly by Aster Glenn Gray, a male-male romance that is set in World War II. One of our heroes is headed home to his daughter, and he passes by this mansion with like the most beautiful rose garden. He decides to trespass on to the mansion to get one of the roses for his daughter, but he is caught by the owner of the mansion, who happens to be a dragon. This follows the Beauty and the Beast plotline, where our heroes was cursed by a witch many years ago, but in this one he is actually turned into like a dragon-like creature. He demands for our hero to bring his daughter to him, and our hero's like, no, like, I love my daughter, I'm not bringing her to you, I will stay. Hero who is cursed is just kind of lonely. He hasn't had any companionship over the years, and it follows this really beautiful, sweepingly romantic romance that really focuses on their friendship first, and I think it's such a unique Beauty and the Beast retelling. I really do enjoy it. Next one is A Beastly Kind of Earl by Mia Vinci. So in this one, our heroine is kind of like the black sheep of her family. Her reputation is ruined because years ago, a bunch of men who she rejected created a ton of lies about her in vengeance, and her sister is about to get married, but her sister is in love with someone else and does not want to marry this earl that she's betrothed to. So our heroine is a little bit of a trickster. She likes to play tricks on people, so she decides to pretend to be her sister going to marry this earl. She's kind of after the earl's money because she wants to print her own book telling her life story and telling the truth about what happened to her, and the earl kind of knows what's going on. He knows that our heroine is not being entirely truthful, but he has ulterior motives of his own. Hero is this really grumpy, reclusive, jaded hero that has all of these rumors swirling around him. I liked this one because it really was more than just the romance and followed a lot of the characters' backstory, which was so much fun to read about. A really classic historical romance that has a Beauty and the Beast retelling is Ravished by Amanda Quick. I'm a big fan of Amanda Quick. Her books are so much fun. Her historical romances kind of read like adventure romances with really strong independent heroines. So in this book, our heroine is a paleontologist, if I'm not mistaken. She loves to explore the caves by her house to discover like different rocks and jewels, and when she's there, she realizes that the cave is being used by a group of bandits that are stealing jewels. She ends up writing a letter to the Viscount who kind of like owns that area. It is our hero Gideon. Basically like propositions him to help her catch these thieves that are messing around in her caves. Our hero Gideon is known as the Beast of Blackthorn. He has like a tortured past. He's a scarred hero. He is really intrigued by our heroine, so agrees to help her, and they get themselves into some precarious situations. Lots of adventures. I really did love this one. I really do need to read more Amanda Quick. I've only read like 2 or 3 of her books and I enjoyed all of them. Next one is also a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and that is How to Love a Duke in 10 Days by Kerrigan Byrne. This is a first in a series. It follows our heroine Lady Alexandria, who also has an interesting job. She's not a paleontologist, she's a archaeologist, I think. Anyways, it doesn't matter. The book does have quite a few trigger warnings. Like the first chapter, our heroine is assaulted when she's young and in school. She ends up killing her attacker with the help of her best friends, and they all swear to protect her secret. Well, years later, she's getting all of these letters from an unknown sender trying to blackmail her and threatening to tell her secret. So she needs money to pay this person off, but she also kind of needs protection. Hero is the Duke of Redmayne, and he also has a tortured past, also is a scarred hero, and he gets into an arranged marriage with our heroine. This one is really sweet because our heroine has a dark past and she's never had any man treat her with love and respect, and our hero realizes that and decides to like worship the ground that she walks on and really show her that she is worthy of love, and it's so beautiful and I loved it. So this one is the last Beauty and the Beast retelling, and then we'll move on. This one is called His Beauty by Jack Harbin. This one is like a direct Beauty and the Beast retelling. The heroine's father is captured by this beast in the town. She goes and sacrifices herself. The beast is cursed, yada yada yada. Like, it's literally a direct Beauty and the Beast retelling. The only difference with this one is that the beast remains the beast the whole time. The whole time. So it's kind of like a monster romance the whole time. Okay, very spicy, very steamy indeed. I did like this one. It is a short, quick novella and a fun retelling. Oh, I lied. I did lie. I have one more Beauty and the Beast retelling. I have so many. There's just so many. This next one is called Lord of Eternal Night by Ben Alderson. So this one of our heroes is a witch, and he has elemental magic, so he can control like fire, water, earth, basically elements. He is born. There's a prophecy made that he is going to be the one to destroy the beast of their town. So years ago, a witch in the town ended up cursing a man and turning him into a vampire. And once a year, he is overcome with bloodlust. So the town has been like sacrificing different people to him to sate the bloodlust until they could find someone to destroy him, which happens to be our other hero who has the elemental magic. So he gets sacrificed to kill this monster, this vampire. But of course, they fall in love. Gets there, he realizes that the story that he had been told his entire life is not necessarily true, and this vampire is not the villain that the town is thinking him to be. So it follows their romance. It's really fun because it has like a magical twist on the Beauty and the Beast retelling. Okay, so now we're done with the Beauty and the Beast retellings. If you want all different types of fairy tale retellings, I highly recommend the Wicked Villain series by Katie Roberts. So this whole series is basically a twist on like Disney, well, not Disney fairy tales, but like the Grimm brother fairy tales. In this series, the villains are the heroes. So you have all different types of pairings. You have Captain Hook and Tinkerbell. You have Hades, Meg, and Hercules. The first book in this series is called Desperate Measures, and this is a romance between Jafar and Jasmine. Jasmine's father is kind of evil, and he's overtaken by a coup led by Jafar. Jafar and Jasmine have always had a attraction to one another, so it follows their romance. It's a darker BDSM romance. So in this book, there's a club owned by Hades that all of like the leaders of the city go to, and it's a BDSM club. And for this one, it has a baby girl zaddy dom kink, also a primal kink, role play kink, like all of the different kinks in this book. It's steamy, it's fun. I also love the second book, Learn My Lesson. That's probably one of my favorite books ever. This is a poly romance between Hades, Meg, and Hercules. Hades and Meg are in an existing relationship. They own this BDSM club together. End up seducing Hercules because Hades has like bad blood with his father Zeus. So it starts off as a revenge plot, but they all fall for each other and create this really beautiful, steamy, polyamorous romance. I love it. Any book in this series is technically a retelling. There's also like Ursula and Eric and Ariel in one. Sexy, steamy, I love it. If you want to find a Robin Hood retelling, Sierra Simone has a short novella called Sherwood. This is a fun, gender-bent, polyamorous Robin Hood retelling with 2 girls and 1 guy. I feel like this one is really hard to explain. You kind of just have to read it. Just know going into it, it's a gender-bent Robin Hood retelling. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. That's not a lot of explanation, but it is a novella, so I don't want to ruin the whole plot for you guys, and it's so unique. You gotta read it. If you like polyamorous romances, you gotta read it. My favorite retellings is Anastasia by Sophie Lark, and this is a dark fantasy enemies to lovers romance. It's also pretty lengthy. It's a pretty thick book. Follows our heroine Anastasia from when she's a really small child all the way to when she's an adult. Our heroine is the princess of her kingdom, and everyone in her family has different types of magic to protect their kingdom. She ends up meeting our hero because he is the son of the leader of like the rebellious army against her father. Punishment for being a part of like this rebellious group, the son is separated from his family and is supposed to serve the kingdom. So they definitely have an enemies to lovers vibe going on. It follows their romance as our heroine is discovering her own magic, trying to protect her kingdom. Like different art throughout the book as well that is really beautiful. So I do recommend reading this physically or on ebook because the art is in color. It's a beautifully well written fantasy book, but just know that the romance is pretty slow burn. The next one is kind of unique, and it is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, and it is called Heartstone by Ella Catherine White. This is another slow burn fantasy romance, but this one has dragons. So our heroine's town is being overwritten by griffins. Father ends up writing letters to different dragon riders to have them like come and protect their kingdom, and that is where our hero comes in. He is a really well-known dragon rider, so him and his squad come to defeat these griffins. Basically, he has a connection with our heroine and they end up falling for each other. You guys know I'm a big fan of Phantom of the Opera, and I think I am going to do a dedicated video to Phantom of the Opera recommendations because I have so many, but right now I'll just talk about 2. So the first one is Point of No Return by Devin Sinclair. This is a polyamorous Phantom of the Opera retelling. Follows our heroine Christine Daniels, who is an opera singer and ends up singing at this Paris opera house. When she gets there, she has a connection to the opera house and almost feels like she can feel an energy within the opera house, and it is because there are gargoyles there. So this is a monster romance. There's gargoyles there protecting the opera house, and she is their fated mate. Someone else in Paris who is also really intrigued by Christine Daniels and wants to take her away from the opera house. Gargoyles were actually cursed and they are trapped to the opera house, so she is trying to help them break the curse, and it follows the romance, and it's a really fun, unique Phantom of the Opera retelling. The next one is Knight's Melody by Drake Lamarck, and this is a gender-bent Phantom of the Opera retelling, and it's also poly because why not? So this one follows Christophe, who is a opera singer, and he has a connection with quite a few people in the opera house. So like I said, this is a gender bent retelling. So this is as if Christine, her best friend, Meg, the dancer, Raoul, and Phantom were all in a polyamorous relationship. But make it gender bent. This is a queer romance, so they're all guys. That's the best way I can explain the book to you, okay? It's wonderful, it's steamy, it's fun. It's everything I wanted. If you guys know anything about me, I am a Raoul stan for life. For fucking life, okay? I love him so much. I feel like he's criminally underrated. Like, I get it. Phantom is dark and cute and mysterious. Raoul was also very sweet and a viscount and had the whole childhood friends to lovers trope going for him. My man deserved better. Perfect world for me, Christine wouldn't have had to choose and could have had Phantom and Raoul. And in this book, that happens. I love it. I love it. I love it. I need to do a Phantom of the Opera retelling because this shelf right here, I have like all of my Phantom of the Opera books and retellings, and there are so many. So maybe I'll do a video sometime during Vlogmas about that. So those are just a couple of romance retellings that I really enjoy. Let me know if you want a part 2 to this video because I know there are so many more. Leave a comment down below of some of your favorites that have like a retelling to them. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!